Greetings, Morgan County. My name is Velde T, the coordinator of the Morgan County Family Connection. Thank you for joining us today for this session of Connecting Through Conversations, where we are taking time to talk with some of your most influential and inspiring leaders. Today we have with us Mr. Patrick Yost, publisher of the Morgan County Citizen. Patrick actually started the Morgan County Citizen in 1997. Prior to that, he was the managing editor of the Madisonian for 10 years. He has more than 25 years of experience in journalism and has served on the board of directors of the Georgia Press Association for more than a decade, where he was named president in 2000. Throughout his career, Patrick has received numerous journalism awards, and as a result of his hard work, the Morgan County Citizen has been named the top weekly in Georgia more than 7 times. This includes a period where the paper was the award-winning paper in Georgia 3 years in a row, which was a first. Patrick is married with 3 children, 2 of whom are currently in college, and a son who is a sophomore at the Morgan County High School. Join me in welcoming Patrick Yost to our conversation.
Thank you, Velde. It's nice to be here. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. Again, I do want to thank you for joining us today and having this time to sit down and have a conversation with you.
Good.
I want to start off by asking you to share with our collaborative partners and our Morgan County viewers what led you to this career in newspaper publishing and what brought you here to Morgan County.
Well, I was always interested in being involved in whatever community I was in. Mm-hmm. And you cannot have a better career than being in the newspaper business, to literally have a front row seat at life in your town.
Wow, yeah.
The good, the bad, everything. So, and I've always been nosy, which doesn't hurt. It's actually a plus in my profession.
Exactly.
So, and I've always enjoyed reading and writing since I was a child. So it was a natural progression for me.
Awesome. Thank you. Over the 25 years of you being in this particular business, how would you say that newspaper reporting has changed over those years?
Well, the reporting has not changed. The fundamental principles of reporting, of being thorough, of doing your work, of being honest, and being fair, that has not changed. What has changed is the speed at which information is delivered. And I think from the newspaper side, we're still more deliberate than electronic media, and certainly more so than social media, where there's no accountability. It's just not. But sometimes there is a rush to be first rather than to be right.
Right.
And
yes.
I think that's where problems arise. So from the newspaper side, the basics of reporting are there. They've been there for 100 years or more. But the delivery method has changed, and it's forced stress on reporters and editors to maybe to speed things up rather than be deliberate and correct sometimes.
Right.
That's been a huge difference, and it's escalating every year.
Right.
It gets worse.
Yeah, we can see that. You know, I consider myself to be a Morgan County. Morgan County is home. This is where I was born. This is where I graduated from high school. My parents live here. I'm here every day working, so this is home. And, you know, we are considered a fairly small town. One of the things that I know a few years back, we were voted the #1 small town in America.
Right.
And we're affectionately known as the town that Sherman refused to burn. But with that being said, I know that there has been a wide range of events and incidents that you have covered during your tenure here in Morgan County. When you think back over the years that you have been here in Morgan County reporting, what would you say is the most exciting or the most memorable story that you have ever covered?
Well, there are so many. And unfortunately, the memorable stories sometimes are the most horrific. Just because those images and that concept of a terrible crime, it stays with you. You can't get rid of that. Thinking back on it, I've been here so long, I can remember a time that for 2 summers in a row, the Ku Klux Klan actually had rallies at our courthouse. Which if you tell people that now, they go,
what?
You can't believe that. But it happened. Which leads me to the next thing. I don't think it's so much an event that strikes me as important, But looking back on that event and looking on other events that have happened in this community, and you've lived here and you can quantify this as being true or not, it's the way the community responds to things that I've always taken great pride in. At the Klan marches, I think 8 people showed up, and 6 were not from here. The 2 that were from here were just guys that hung around downtown and were just walking by to see what was going on. There was no affirmation of that activity as being valid or important to us. We just happened to be a place they chose to come. And I was so proud of my community then. And I've been so proud of my community over and over and over when tragedy strikes, when people need things. People in Morgan County help.
Come together.
They, more so than anywhere I've ever been or experienced, that when you truly need help and you deserve help, you get it here. People will give of themselves. And we have strong social groups, we have strong church base, we have strong civic groups, and we have a strong community. And outreach to that is, if you look at our school system, which is better than most, I think a large part of that is the community and parental involvement. So there hasn't been one big story that but I'm proud to be here. And for that reason, that's been my observation of this town and this county.
Awesome. It's I guess a collection of stories that
they're
makes
countless. I can tell you
Morgan County what Morgan County is.
There's some funny ones and there's some horrible ones, and but yeah, I don't have one that just rings out as, boy, that was exciting. There's every week's exciting to me. So there's different things.
Awesome. One of the reasons I thought it was important to have this opportunity to sit down and have this conversation with you is, I think we alluded to it earlier, where there's different media outlets for news that is in our society today, and news media has such an impact on society as a whole, and no doubt here locally. Now, when you think about the years that you have covered stories here in Morgan County, the ones that you kind of have in your mind now, and you had the opportunity to meet families up close and personal. When you think about that, what would you say, from your perspective, is the greatest issues facing children and families today?
I don't think that's ever changed since the beginning of time. And I think that issue is having a decent job where you can support your family, or families can be supported financially through parents working, having a decent structure in place where you can receive help, be it family, church, schools, and I think it all goes back to the ability to feed yourself and the ability to take care of yourself, which is all economic driven, and education. We have to have an educated workforce and educated populace, or we're lost.
And
I'm a great believer in education and the money that is well spent on that.
Thank you. Back in April of 2000, the Georgia legislature actually delegated authority to the Morgan County Collaborative here to be the catalyst that brings awareness to citizens about the issues facing Morgan County families and children, and to facilitate partnerships, community partnerships, to be able to meet those needs. What do you think, how do you think Morgan County Family Connection, when you think about the things that you just spoke about, how do you feel that we can be at the table to help bring the community together to meet those needs?
Well, you already are. You're already using your resources to bring various groups together. Your monthly meetings are and we've started covering some of those because they're important. But you're becoming a clearinghouse for information and resources, and that's something we never had here. There's more that you can do, absolutely. But I think that's a wonderful beginning. We never had that. And now I get your emails, we all get your emails, you keep us informed and on top of things. So I don't know, it's a great beginning, and I'm excited to see how you progress.
Okay, thank you.
Because you've got room.
Thank you.
You've got room.
Thank you. Okay. Before I end this conversation, I would like to just ask the question on a more personal note. I'm a strong believer that as we journey through life, we are actually penning our stories that will one day be known as our legacy. So my final question for you today is, years from now, if someone were to pick up and say, I want to do a story on the legacy of Mr. Patrick Yost, what would you want the highlight of that article to be?
I think on my tombstone, if you would put, he was fair. I think that would be a real compliment, because I've always tried to be fair to everyone in the community, for better or worse, and sometimes to a great fault. I've lost a lot of friends being fair, I think. But I've tried to treat everyone the same, poor, rich, educated, non-educated. I think everybody has a value, and everybody gets treated the same in my book. So
okay, wonderful.
That would be a great compliment to me, I think.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. Yost, thank you so
You're
much
welcome.
for
Thanks
joining
for
us
having me.
today. It has been refreshing. It has been enlightening.
Good.
And I wish you much success as you continue to impact the community here at the local level.
Well, thank you, Velde. It's been a real pleasure.
And I would like to thank you, our viewing audience, for joining us for this session of Connecting Through Conversations. We invite you to watch all of our upcoming sessions, as well as to join us the third Tuesday of each month at our collaborative table, where we will continue to gather data, connect partners, and impact families. Until next time, this is Velde Hardy. Have a wonderful day.